Okay, so I'm going to go through the straddle lift with you today, and the straddle lift is pretty much like a conventional deadlift, but you're using a dumbbell or a kettlebell. And what I would prefer you to do is to elevate your feet with two bumper plates. However, I am going to show you a variation where you don't have to do this in case the gym is busy. So let's start off with the technique. First of all, you're going to set up feet slightly wider than shoulder width and hip width, and then you're going to hinge at the hips, squat down and pick the dumbbell up. So I'm going to start from the top now. We hinge at the hips, bum goes back, then you bend at the knee and come back up. Now, what I want you to do is try to keep the dumbbell a couple of inches or 1 inch off the floor. We don't want to put the dumbbell down each time. So we send hips back and bend at the knee. It's kind of one movement instead of two, but once you've done it a couple of times, you'll hopefully get into the swing of it. Now I'm going to show you also front on, so you can see feet are slightly wider than hip width apart. They're not all the way out like this. We don't want like a sumo style. It's feet slightly wider than hip width, turn the toes out, hinge at the hips, take the bum back, then bend at the knee. And then as you come up, I really want you to focus on pushing your knees out. It's very common in this exercise for your knees to kind of collapse in, so do really focus on pressing the knees outward as you come up. Then just notice with the dumbbell, I did just crash onto the floor then, but do try to keep the dumbbell slightly hovered off the floor. You might occasionally crash down, but if you can, try to keep the tension in the movement and keep the dumbbell hovered off the floor. Okay, now I'm going to show you the variation if you don't have access to the bumper plates like I do. You're simply going to set up on the floor, your feet slightly wider than hip width apart, turning those toes out, and then you're just going to hold the dumbbell differently. So now I'm actually holding the middle of the dumbbell. I'm not holding the dumbbell by the end, and I can still perform the movement exactly the same without having the bumper plates. So it's as simple as that. The reason why I like having the bumper plates there is it just gives you that little bit more range of movement. So here you go, this is it side on. As you can see, I'm just holding the dumbbell slightly differently and I'm still performing the movement exactly the same. Slight hinge at the hips, bend at the knee, and just keeping that conventional deadlift position throughout the movement. And that is the straddle lift.